Is this the best growth stock of 2020? Okay, probably not, but it is up over 200% from its recent lows on March 23rd. It's a company that's on the cutting edge of healthcare, and I believe it still has more room to run. So I reveal what I believe to be one of the best growth stocks in the market right now, coming up next.
Let's do it.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Matthew. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about one growth stock in particular. And before we jump into this video, I just want to clarify something about my last video about Hertz. I was not promoting Hertz. I was not suggesting you should buy it. The title just simply said buy Hertz ? And I feel like a lot of people didn't really see that question mark, and they thought by the title that I was saying go load up on Hertz. Just to clear the air, was not recommending you buy Hertz. I was actually explaining why I am staying far away. I hope that clears things up, and enjoy this video. Now before I tell you what stock it is, give me the format. First, what does this company do and where is the opportunity here? Second, a look at their juicy financials. And third, why I think it still has lots of room to run despite being up over 200% since recent lows. Then fourth, the risky risks involved. And finally fifth, what am I going to do? The company we're talking about today is Livongo Health. First, what does this company do and where's the opportunity? By the way, I only bought in last week, but I'm already up almost 12%, and although this is a long-term investing channel, it's always nice to see those quick gains. If you're interested in any alerts for when I buy or sell a stock, just make sure to stay tuned for my message about my new Discord and Patreon coming soon. Alright, listen up because this is going to be a mouthful. Livongo Health is a healthcare company that uses AI and smart devices to help people with chronic illnesses save money and stay healthy by personalizing its services to each patient. If you didn't get everything in that run-on sentence, I suggest you rewind. Livongo's product currently focuses primarily on people with diabetes and hypertension, so all of the demographics and projections that we look at today will be based off of people in those two categories. But keep in mind that Livongo is not just offering services in those two areas. They're also working on offering services in weight management, diabetes prevention, and behavioral health, which includes depression, stress, anxiety, sleep, and more. Their current product is Livongo's Diabetes Monitor combined with Livongo's own AI software. The combination of the two allows Livongo to use personal data to create that personal experience we just talked about. This in turn leads to improved health and money saved. You should also note that Livongo is a subscription business model. Alright, so we've got all the buzzwords here. AI, personalize, save money. So what is the opportunity for Livongo? Their total addressable market
is enormous.
There are about 31.4 million people in the US with diabetes and another 39.6 million with hypertension. Now, granted that there is a lot of overlap between people with both diabetes and hypertension, let's just assume anyway that this makes up all potential customers and multiply that by Livongo's subscription cost per customer. That gives you a total addressable market of over $46 billion per year in the US because it's a subscription service. And you might ask,
But Matt, what are the odds of every person with diabetes switching over to Livongo?
well, I'd actually argue pretty high because the average annual medical cost per person is more than doubled if you have diabetes. In other words, if you have diabetes, your average annual medical cost increases by over $7,700. So if I say, hey, this Livongo thingy will save you some of that moolah and also make you healthier, I don't see a lot of people refusing that sales pitch. In fact, it's just like how I don't see many people resisting my cordial and kind request to smash that like button. In all seriousness, as I say in almost every video, these do take a long time to research, record, and edit, so if you could just... thank you. Moving on. So before we move into the fundamental analysis of Livongo, let's just say that their total addressable market is enormous, and I only see it getting bigger due to something called the Silver Tsunami, aka the entire baby boomer generation, which represents 22% of the US population, 73 million strong. By 2030, their entire generation will be over the age of 65, and with this momentous occasion, unfortunately, comes a lot more chronic illnesses in their demographic. And chronic illnesses are where Livongo comes to help. Let's move on to part 2, a look at their juicy financials. Into the balance sheet we go. Let's start with the current ratio. You guys know I love that one, and if you don't know already, a current ratio is just current assets over current liabilities. And current means it can be used or liquidated, or it expires and is due within the next year. This ratio gives you a great idea of the company's financial position for the upcoming year. In other words, does this company have enough assets to pay off all of their liabilities for the next year? Livongo has 476 million in current assets and only 44 million in current liabilities, giving them a current ratio of 10.65. I realize how much of a nerd I have become when I read that they only have 44 million in current liabilities, because I literally went like this.
Let's go.
In my empty room at 2 a.m. But I should note that a current ratio that high, 10.6, might also be a red flag because it may show that management is not using their assets and cash as efficiently as they could be. But it's better than drowning in debt. And before we move on to the next most exciting part of the video, here are the highlights from their cash flows and income statements. Revenue more than doubled year over year.
Wow.
Their net loss has dramatically decreased to almost just a third of what it was a year ago, meaning they're well on their way to profitability. And lastly, their cash position has quadrupled year over year. Okay, now part 3, why I think it still has more room to run. First, their market cap is only 6.7 billion, which leaves plenty of room to run. In other words, 6.7 billion for a market cap of a company with this much potential is not very much. I could easily see this market cap rising to 15 to 20 billion in just a few short years. Additionally, they've only captured about 1% of the US diabetes market thus far, so their revenues are only going to increase as they get better market penetration. And with their revenue boasting a compound annual growth rate of 135% over the past couple of years, their strategy of acquiring new clients seems to be doing just fine. And lastly, their services will expand far beyond just diabetes. As we already talked about, they're going to places like weight management, behavioral sciences. And keep in mind that, these projections for diabetes, they might be a little inflated because, again, a lot of people have both diabetes and hypertension. But that's another reminder that you should always do your own due diligence. I'm not a professional. This is all just my opinion. But yeah, that's the third reason. They're going to expand into a lot more different services beyond just diabetes. But we always want to talk about both sides of a stock, and we don't want to make ourselves extremely biased to either side. So here's part 4, the risky risks, the important things you should consider before you buy this stock. The first risk is right now it's pretty expensive if you're using traditional stock market metrics. They don't have any earnings to go off of yet, but they should be profitable by next year. Whether or not that happens, who knows? The second big risk I see is that Livongo is great for today's world of medicine. Obviously, their whole product is based around saving you money and medical costs while maintaining your health. But let's say just somehow there's a new science for diabetes that reduces costs and dramatically improves your health. In other words, a drug or process for diabetes that is extremely affordable and effective can make Livongo obsolete. I think this risk is a little far-fetched, but it's definitely something to keep in mind, and it's probably something we won't have to worry about for at least a few years. Alright, now, part 5, what will I do? Personally, I started a pretty decently sized position in Livongo in my portfolio. I think it adds a lot of growth potential, as well as diversification into the healthcare sector. I could definitely see this being built into one of the bigger positions in my portfolio, and I pretty much just told you all the reasons why, so I guess this part of the video is over. But before we close out this video, I want to announce something huge, something I mentioned at the beginning of the video. On June 19th, on Friday, I will be releasing my Patreon and my Discord. I want this Discord to be a community of investors from all different backgrounds and skill levels to come together, share information, and learn from one another. The Discord is going to have channels like the Education Center where you can learn about different basics, and a building community tab where you share your profits and the lessons that you learn from losses. Those will all be completely free, but if you want more channels like options trading, penny stocks, growth stocks, dividends, all that good stuff, as well as my buy-sell alerts and my watch list alerts, then you can go through the Patreon platform. So I'm super excited to bring this to you guys. I'm only going to open it for about 24 to 48 hours and see who we get, and those are the people that are going to be driving the show, like I said in my last video. Those are the people I'm going to be working very closely with to try and mold this and get feedback and create something that's very special, very value-packed, and very unique. If you're watching this after June 19th and before June 21st, hopefully I've remembered to put the link in the description below to the Patreon and the Discord. So usually we would end with the quote of the day, but I'm just going to plug myself right here. Feel free to follow me on Instagram for daily updates on the stock market, my investments, and this channel. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching at this point in the video. You guys are the real MVPs. Don't forget your peace, and thank yous.